All right, streaming is started and host has been passed over to Felicia. You should be good to go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, well, the hour of having arrived, I think we can get started with this finance and personnel meeting today. And so I guess we'll start with the roll call with the understanding that Alder Miekma has asked to be excused. So are you comfortable with that, Felicia? Calling the roll?
Yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic.
We'll start with Chair Taft.
Here.
Alder Young.
Here.
Miekma has been asked to be excused. Alder West.
Here.
And Alder Tate.
Present.
Great. Okay. Sorry, I'm toggling back and forth between this and the agenda, so my apologies. Okay, so the next item of business would be the approval of the minutes for the November 23rd, 2020 meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Fantastic. Okay, so that, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be better at repeating. So this was, the motion was made by Alder Taft and seconded by, was that Alder Young?
Marcus and Young.
Marcus and Young. Okay, got double seconds. Fantastic.
Double.
Okay, thank you. So that takes us to the next item of business, which would be item 845-20. Would you like me to read it, Felicia, or would you like to read it?
I can read it for you.
Thank you so much.
Item 845-20, communication sponsored by Alder Taft requesting to extend the city's contract with Venue Works for 1 year for a contract ending date of 12/31/2021.
Thank you so much. So at this point, I think a motion would be in order, and then we can have discuss. Actually, do we have anybody available to discuss this item? I wasn't sure who was on the lines.
Yes, we have John Steele from Venue Works.
Oh,
I
perfect.
apologize
Well,
if I said that incorrectly.
okay, if you can unmute him, I'd be welcome his comments before we get started.
John, are you there?
With us? Hello.
It shows that John is here, but it's not allowing me to unmute.
Okay, so you don't have the ability to unmute him? I'm gonna look. I have the ability to unmute him either. Looking at the attendees now. Okay, I am not able to unmute him either. That is unfortunate.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay.
John, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, perfect.
Do you hear me now?
Yes,
We
sir.
can.
We can hear you.
Okay, well, thank you for sticking with it till you found me. I appreciate that. I'm not sure where my picture is, but that's okay. We'll look the same without a picture. I would like to say thank you very much. We continue to be excited to work with Ricky and Amanda down at Festival Hall, Memorial Hall, Rotary Park. We're more than happy to jump in and help the city out. We understand there's development to happen down there at some time in the future. But in the meantime, we would like to as soon as coronavirus, COVID kind of goes away, we'd love to jump back in and book the place and generate some more revenue for the city of Racine. We've got a long-standing relationship with you. Both Ricky and Amanda have had a long-standing relationship, and we are very excited to be here in front of you tonight and really look forward to the next year to carry you over this interim period.
Well, thank you so much. I'm to open the floor for any questions of any committee members may have. I think I see.
I saw John Tate has his hand raised.
You're muted, Alder Chaff.
I apologize. I disconnected somehow. I don't know how that happened. Thank you for your patience. Alder Tate, did you have a question? I saw your hand up first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question really is around the current contract as it stands, what effect, if any, COVID has on it, as well as expenditures from the city, given the context of COVID and the lack of use of that space. Because I probably wouldn't be supportive of extending a contract where we're expending amount that was designed for a prior time. Because I think this is our second time actually extending the contract on a yearly basis from 2019, which was a very different circumstance. So to do that again for another year, I want to make sure that we're not, committing ourselves to spending a certain amount despite the usage of Festival Hall and other venues that they manage being dramatically down. So yeah, I guess maybe Director Fisher could speak to that.
Sure, Miss. I see that she is muted. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for the question, Alder Tate II. Absolutely, this is the second or third extension with VenueWorks, and again, the extension last year was in anticipation of development down at the site due to COVID. Obviously, that development has been delayed. What I will say in terms of usage of the site, as many of you are probably aware, we have been using the site quite a bit, extensively over this COVID period, either for COVID testing, for the elections. We were down there quite a bit. I would anticipate that probably being the case as well in April. And having said all of that, while we are using the building, we do need people there to open the building and close the building and keep the building inhabitable while we are using it. Absolutely, there haven't been a lot of events. Right now, the contract is written with the same funding as has been in the past. And that was budgeted in the 2021 budget.
If I follow up, oh, you go ahead, sir. Follow up, please.
Go ahead, Madam Chair. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, I thought that the intention was to ask whether the contract was adjusted given the circumstances. I thought that was sort of the spirit of Alder Tate. Yeah, and so have there.
Sorry, at this point, the contract and the funding for the contract has not been adjusted, but we could absolutely look at that.
So if we approve this contract this evening, then if it needed adjusting, when would that occur? Would it occur at council? Would that occur in a subsequent amendment? How would that work?
It would probably occur in a subsequent amendment at this point. So it would have to come back in January, sometime in January, probably that meeting in January.
You're saying that the current level of activity justifies the current level of spending?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry to jump in there, Alder Tate. If you want to have other follow-ups, please proceed.
No, that's fine. Thank you. That kind of gets the essence of what my question is.
Yep.
I understand we're using it I do understand we used to get monthly reports as well of activities happening there. And certainly, I don't believe our activities match what those monthly reports previously reflected. And for that reason, I think I see that this contract expires at the end of the month, so we might not meet again prior to that point. But I do not believe it will make sense for us to extend the 2018-2019 contract into 2021, given the circumstances that we're facing, and probably would be most prudent to reevaluate what that contract looks like as opposed to moving forward as is. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I saw Mr. Mayor had his hand up. So Mr. Mayor, please proceed.
I'm going to ask the city administrator just talk about sort of how the funding of the Civic Center and Memorial Hall work. I mean, we have fixed costs that recur every year, and our contract with Venue Works is intended, at least partially, to minimize those costs. Now that gets difficult in the midst of a pandemic, but we've in some ways used our public buildings, these public assets, specifically for public purposes under an emergency COVID basis in a way that we haven't before. And Kathleen, I don't know if you could speak to this today or have the numbers readily available, but there are, if we don't have Venue Works doing this and we need someone to maintain the building, that there would be costs for us to determine how best to do that as well. And then I think the other thing to consider is if COVID lifts mid-year, 2/3 of the year through, finding somebody to resume the contract would be a challenge. So Kathleen, I don't know if you can speak to sort of some of those dynamics that exist and the pros and cons of having Venue Works in place versus having nothing in place.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. You're absolutely right. The contract with Venue Works and the administrative piece of the contract with Venue Works, the monthly fee, if you will, does cover the fixed costs of the build. So it covers the utilities of the building and all of those fixed costs, obviously the salaries of the people that are there as well. If we were to not have Venue Works, we most likely would have to just shutter the building. And in that case, the building would become mostly unusable even for a city event, because this is a building of that size can't just be open and closed on a whim. The heating and cooling associated with it is relatively complex, that piece of it alone. So their monthly fee is mostly based on those fixed costs associated with it, and obviously the salary and fringes associated with the employees that are working down there. So you're right, Mayor. I mean, at this point, the only other option, in my opinion, would be to shutter the building completely.
Okay. Are there any other questions from members? Mr. Mayor, did you have a comment? Because your hand is still up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that I would say, I mean, I'm not saying that we have to have this figured out today. I just know that it is very likely with the spring elections and the likelihood of additional testing facilities for COVID and potential distribution of vaccines, we're very likely going to need this space available for the public interest in 2021. That isn't meant to say that we have to approve this today. I just wouldn't want people to think that we, in some strange ways, we have used Festival Hall in the public interest more in the last 8 months than we maybe have in the previous 8 years. And so it's been a crucial piece of infrastructure for the city throughout the pandemic, and I would hate to not be able to do it. And just as an aside, Ricky has been on the spot whenever we've needed. I mean, if we needed to be there at 4 a.m, he was there at 4 a.m. If we needed to be there all night to count the elections, he made sure that the building was open and ready to go. As things, began to fall into disrepair, he would let us know that there were capital costs that were being incurred. So there is some value to having it. Again, I think the questions that Alder Tate are raising are exactly the right questions to ask. I don't know that I would suggest concluding the year without clarity on how to maintain the building in 2021.
Right. And my understanding too is that, you know, there are employees of the building that would like to know that they're going to still be employed into the year. And that's an important consideration as well in terms of not delaying this further. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
I would move to approve item 0845-20.
Okay. Moved by Alder Young. Do I have a second? All right. I'm happy to second. So I will second that motion. And so is there any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. I'm sorry. Hand up, Alder Tate?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Please proceed.
I guess I'm not opposed to obviously having this. I don't want us to go without some vendor operating the festival hall, but I do believe we need to come back and amend this, you know, to reflect the current status of usage. And I don't know if John's still on the phone, but I'd certainly like to hear, you know, whether that's something he would be amendable to discussing and having kind of be the expectation that, you know, we'll establish this for now, but probably early January, we need to be reevaluating and amending what the current agreement is. And I mean, I guess we could make a motion that, you know, we'll extend the contract through March and reevaluate as opposed to extending it for the year too. I think that's within our purview to do.
I would probably want to, well, you can make a motion, but it makes sense to me to keep it at least through spring elections. Because I know it's used.
I just said March, for example, but.
Right. Mr. Seal, do you comment on that front?
Well, obviously, we'd like to get back in there and start booking the events. We anticipate from the industry that we're going to be able to, things will lighten up towards the end of the second quarter of 21. We'd like to get in there and start booking that and put together a marketing plan, et cetera, which is exactly what we have done in past years. Certainly, it's pretty tough to book any events right now with governmental orders that say you gather too many people. But we would love to be in there and ready and raring to go for when we get back on board and be able to book Memorial Hall and Festival Hall at the same time. So our preference would be to stretch it for a year and jump right in and continue to go out and seek business for you to generate some revenue to offset some of the costs that you have. And, you know, even with small events, we are hosting small events in most of our facilities around the country right now that, while they're not covering all the costs, they're certainly helping to offset. But up until this point, we haven't really had the leeway to book based on instructions that we were given up till now to kind of let Festival Hall go and try to see what we could do in Memorial Hall. And then COVID came along. So if you would like to review or re-engage a discussion of a shorter term contract, et cetera, I'm sure we could bring that up to Steve Peters with VenueWorks and see his amenability for that. I do know that our, you know, especially Ricky, full-time employee down there, is really, frankly, sitting on pins and needles, hoping to have a job in the new year.
I mean, again, my thought isn't to, you know, have there be any sort of uncertainty as we enter into the new year, particularly because the contract expires at the end of this year, but to kind of restructure or reevaluate the contract as it current reality exists. Now, obviously, I don't think we have very much options right now or wiggle room to have that conversation in depth, but I do believe it's a conversation that needs to be had sooner rather than later once we are secure and going into the new year. with a vendor for those sites. So that's where my perspective is. I'm not speaking against the motion necessarily, but I do believe that before long we need to come back and discuss further what the remainder of the year looks like, as opposed to having a contract in place that was established well before the current circumstances, and to continue to extend that without taking into account the current circumstances. I think just it's probably unwise on our part, and the full diligence that it requires from us. Maybe very well conclusion that we say, yeah, we'll just keep it as is, but I do believe we need to at least look at and reevaluate what's currently stated in the contract before we kind of extend or proceed with that through the remainder of the year, given the environment that we're in. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alder Tate. Does any other member of the committee have any comments or questions moving forward? Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say that, we've been using this building a lot, for public purpose, as the mayor alluded to, and we may need it for, getting through this current period, as well as, future vaccine staging areas, et cetera, et cetera. We can't really anticipate exactly what the uses are, so I'm definitely amenable to putting a progress report or an update on the or revisiting on the agenda. So I'm certainly open to that in the future. So that's fine. So, but the motion in front of us is to recommend as written. So that's what we're on now. If there's no other discussion. Okay, seeing none, all in favor of this item, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. So much. All right.
Thank you very much. If we do need to continue discussions, certainly give us a call and we'll take a look.
Thank you so much. It'll probably come up at council as well. So just keep that in mind. Thank you. Okay, so the next item is item 797-20.
We have a communication from Alder Taff on behalf of the fire department requesting permission for the mayor to sign an agreement between the city of Racine and Racine County Emergency Management for the HMEP Specialized Hazmat Training Grant.
Okay, and staff recommendation is that it be granted, and the fiscal note is that the fire department will receive $6,000 from Racine County and no local match. So great. Do we have anybody here to speak on this item?
Yes, we have Chief Hansen.
Okay, Chief Hansen, please proceed.
This is Lieutenant Brian Phillips. I'm not sure if Chief Hansen's on the line right now or not.
Okay.
I can speak to this matter. So just a quick background, Racine Fire Department, we are contracted through the state of Wisconsin as part of their hazardous materials response network. So we are one of 6 regional type 2 teams in the state of Wisconsin. Through this contract, we do receive highly technical equipment that we use in our hazmat response. This grant, the $6,000 grant, would be used for some advanced training for this equipment for our members. We have approximately 40 hazmat technicians on our team. And this would give training to a full day of highly technical training on this equipment to each one of our shifts. And that's what it would be used for. And I think in the note, there is no local match. So this is purely funded through the grant.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, none. Motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Tate, seconded by Alder Young. And discussion on the item. Okay, seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Next item is item 839-20.
We have a communication sponsored by Elder Taft on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting a request to transfer $75,000 from the contingency fund of DPW Parking System and Parks Department 2020-21 snow and ice operations, and authorize the hiring of contractors for snow removal for city-owned properties. Staff recommendations to the Finance and Personnel Committee to authorize the Finance Director to transfer funds from the contingency fund in the amount of $75,000 to aforementioned accounts as needed. A fiscal note adopted 2021 budget for the contingency account is $200,000. Funds are available for the transfer in the 2021 budget account number 11202562000.
Thank you. Do we have anybody here to, I think I saw Mr. Rooney on the line. Mr. Rooney, would you like to speak to this motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I trust everyone on the committee had a chance to read the memo that was emailed this afternoon. If they did not, I could read it for the benefit of those who haven't had a chance to review it or read it.
I've seen it, but if you want to read it or summarize it, you feel free.
Sure. We met with Parks Department a few weeks ago to discuss snow and ice operations. What we do with Parks Department is fairly routine every winter. However, we don't think this is going to be a routine winter due to several items. Most notably is COVID-19 with FFCRA, and then the protocols for having to be away from work, and the possibility, one employee infecting another and having it spread rampant throughout DPW and Parks Department weighs heavily on us. Also, the fact that we have unfilled frozen positions left over from the 2020 budget. DPW alone has 10 positions, or I'm sorry, 11 frozen positions that I believe are starting to go and get processed through human resources, but they won't be filled in time, nor will they have the training to be of much help to us during snow and ice season. Also, we have quite a few retirements that should be coming, a wave of them in January. We've already seen several employees start some of their paperwork as early as past week, indicating that they're going to be retiring from city employment. Again, those are positions that will not be filled in short order, nor will they, once filled, be trained and be ready to go for the 2020-2021 snow and ice operation. So this is our greatest concern. We feel we are in a position that's untenable. We met and spent several hours, Tom Mobeck and his staff, and my staff, figuring out how we are going to conduct snow and ice operations this year and provide this service to the citizenry. It's our number one mission in the winter months. And if it's something that gets impacted, it can snowball, pardon the pun, into other operational issues such as, waste collection, pothole filling, managing freezing sump pump discharges, managing our snow barrels, our snow fencing, our snow markers. So what we believed to be the only reasonable option for us to be prepared and be ready to go, so we aren't caught in that position whereby any number one of these things I just described occurs, or several of them occur. We feel the best way we can position ourselves to have some relative success in providing the service to the citizenry is to contract for the removal of snow from city-owned facilities. And Parks Department will be working hand in hand with DPW this year, but our concentration is going to be on our operations that obviously involve our bare pavements first. Those are our highways, arterials, collectors, bus routes. These are the routes that first responders generally use to get wherever they got to go. These are the routes people use to get to work, typically get to school in more normal times. Then we'll be falling back to do the district plowing. Those are your neighborhoods that all your constituents, most of them live in. And then after that, we'll follow up with alley plowing, which is really important. We have about 5,000 properties that abut city alleyways, and I think 3,000 of them actually access their property off of the alley. So it's not only important for them to get in and out, but we need to get back in there to get waste collection done as well. So what has to give for us to provide that service in the event we have a shortage of personnel, which is a very realistic possibility. I don't say this isn't hyperbole. We just experienced this with leaf collection. We had a setback in the beginning of November that we are still picking up leaves as of today. Normally we're done by the end of November. A lot of times we'll even extend that and offer an extended period for leaf collection once we're done. We haven't even finished. So what we believe is the most reasonable solution for this is to authorize the purchasing agent. We've contacted contractors and we have all this information ready. Will be to have the purchasing agent, essentially, I don't know what mechanism we'll use, a purchase order or something of that nature, to hire a contractor to take care of our city-owned facilities. And what does that mean? That entails 33 locations. 25 of those are parking system facilities. These are facilities that are, we have customers that rent space from us. We have the general public that uses our off-street facilities for parking for whatever reason, whether to work or to shop or whatever the case may be. We have 5 community centers that Parks and Recs believes we should also have contracted out. I think everyone in the committee knows where those are located. And then we have 3 main city facilities at City Hall, the Annex, and the Safety Building. So that's 33 facilities. We have plenty of records on snow and ice operations. It's what we do here. It's what our mission is. And based on our historical data over the last several years, we're averaging about 16 operations on average. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. We know how many hours it takes to clear these lots of snow and ice. And based on the rates that we've got from the contractors, we have an idea of how much this will cost for this season if we were to contract this out. And we believe that costs to be $150,000. That is if we see a normal season. The bulk of that obviously will be for the parking system, and the next would go to the Parks Department and then DPW. So the recommendation is to transfer money from the contingency fund to pay a contractor to do this. We currently don't have this type of professional services budget in the 2021 budget. We didn't. I don't think we quite realize maybe the effects of what COVID could do to the work staff. We really didn't know the impacts upon the impending retirements that are coming up. That really kind of came to surface right as the budget was being approved by Common Council. A lot of that, as you all know, centered around some handbook changes that a lot of people, I think, want to leave while they can still enjoy some things that they expected. So that's another one we couldn't quite see. And then, it's that ability to try to get the frozen positions filled. So spoke with the finance director regarding this item, spoke with the mayor as well. We were on a Zoom meeting last week. These are the funds we need. The city administrator, finance director believes the appropriate action would be to get at least 75,000 transferred over. And if more is needed, I'll return to this committee and ask for more. If we have a normal winter, I will be back. If it stays like it is today, like it has been, maybe I won't be, but these are based on pretty good historical data. And then the second recommendation, if the committee agrees, would be to authorize and direct the purchasing agent to negotiate and get these folks ready to go when the snow begins to fall. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions the committee has.
All right, thank you so much. Does any on the committee have any questions or comments? Oh, yes, sir. Alder West. Oh, you're still unmuted. Felicia, can you,
Yes, thank you. I do have a couple questions. I wanted to know, with the bidding process, did you guys make that bidding process public? And do you have a group of individuals that you're looking at?
Well, if the committee agrees to make the recommendation that staff is suggesting, the purchasing agent will cause that to be public. She'll go out there and solicit that. We simply contacted several contractors from this area. A lot of them are landscapers. A lot of them are road builders. You can think the folks that don't pave asphalt in the wintertime or they're not tending to lawns. So we've got several of those, and those have been made available to the purchasing agent. The other trick was trying to find not only contractors, whether the landscapers or general contractors or pavers or whatever. It's to find those that are available to do the work. This late November is not the time to be out shopping for snow removal services. If you can imagine, most of these types of companies have already committed their services. Some of the same companies that we are trying to get to work for the city of Racine are committed to plowing, say, Modine or SCJ or Pick and Save or what have you. So yes, we've been working very hard. Once we got into the situation, we thought we needed to do this. We've contacted the contractors, and the purchasing agent will ensure that it's being procured.
So you reached out to the subcontractors before the bidding process? I'm kind of confused.
Yes, we did, to get an estimate of what we believe we will need from the contingency fund. We needed to start looking at what their hourly rates were for service. We know how many hours it takes to remove snow from the city hall lot or from Chavez or from these facilities. We just aren't going to have equipment and personnel to do it. So we need to get to what their hourly rates were. That's how we generated the estimate. Without contacting them and get an idea what their hourly charges would be, I wouldn't be able to come to you and ask you in this committee for some contingency money to be put aside for this type of work. But we haven't contracted with anybody.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions from community members? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time. Oh, sorry, Alder Tate. Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. I don't know if you can see the little hands that pop up in the upper left corner.
It's hard to see them. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I see it now, but I didn't first popped up. It's really light.
All right. Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Rooney, for the presentation, kind of trying to get ahead of this before we're kind of hit head on. I see that kind of the ask is for half of kind of the estimated total costs. Are you anticipating that you'll probably be moving around some operational costs from DPW to cover some of these contracted services, since you're not asking for the total 150? That's kind of the cumulative cost between DPW parks and parking.
Well, I would have preferred to ask, that the 150 be made available and maybe transfer up to that if needed, as to say eliminate having to come back here. After discussions with the mayor and city administrator, they believe the appropriate stuff would be at least come to have half of it made available and then return. Like I said, I can't predict what's going to happen this season based on statistical data that we've collected for our operations, for the number of operations we average and the amount that these contractors we believe are going to charge for that service per hour. We're looking at about $150,000. So I don't have a problem coming back here and visiting the committee again. And if that's the prudent thing to do, I certainly will be back. But that's, I think, was a question maybe that may be better directed to Kathleen Fisher, as she's more in tune with the contingency fund and the movement of monies in the budget.
Well, the contingency fund itself isn't really my necessary concern. I guess I'm more asking, given the anticipated retirements, obviously that those will be salaries that won't be paid out that were budgeted for. Is that kind of being taken into consideration as far as being able to move those funds into perhaps contracted services as opposed to salary?
Well, I'm assuming many of these employees are going to still be continue to draw their salaries vis-a-vis, vacation pay. Many of these employees who are obviously eligible to retire, are in that position where they've maxed out, 5 weeks vacation. So they're still going to be on the city payroll to speak. I would say well into February. And I guess we'll see where things shake out as the budget goes, and maybe there's something that they can reconcile the budget later in the year and move monies back to the contingency fund. If say there's a lag still in hiring some of those frozen positions, and that budget isn't consumed. So I assume that's some type of accounting maneuver that can be done to adjust that. I'd leave that question to be answered by those folks in finance department.
All right. Administrator Fisher, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, John kind of touched on it a little bit, and I appreciate the question, Alder Tate II, because you're absolutely right. One of the reasons that we looked at only doing 75 from contingency was that does give us some time during the year to see whether they are under budget on their salaries, because they did have a mass amount of vacancies at any point in time. Normally something like this item would come to the committee under an emergency order.
Right.
In this case, we're being a little bit more proactive because we are in snow season and we are seeing an impact from that FFCRA. But so I didn't want to necessarily allocate and encumber that much out of contingency, because they may very well, you're right, have some operating dollars that they could use to absorb these costs a little bit later in the year, after that March, April, when we know things have settled down.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. Alder Tate II. Mr. Mayor, you had your hand up.
Addressed what I was going to talk about, so it's not necessary. Thanks.
Okay, sure. Okay. Alder Young, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. It's less of a question and more of a count of appreciation. I think that we should all be extremely conservative when we're talking about uses of the contingency fund, and to hear the rationale behind the approach as to how much we expect the cost to be, and visiting the committee twice if that's necessary, and looking at all other options associated with where we can garner this type of resource to deliver this type of service. I just want to say I appreciate the approach of city staff to make sure that we're responsible stewards of a fund that should be used very conservatively. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Alder Young. I don't see any more comments or hands up right now, so I don't think we have a motion yet on this, so I believe a motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Alder Tate II. Alder Young. Is there any further discussion on this item? None. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item would be, sorry, I'm toggling here. Next item would be item 789-20. So I don't hear,
I think Felicia has to unmute.
yep. Alicia, you're muted.
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Perfect. Item 0789-20, a communication sponsored by Alder Young on behalf of the Director of City Development requesting permission to apply for a certified local government historical preservation subgrant from the Wisconsin Historic Society to help fund the preparation of a reconnaissance survey for a potential Carlisle Avenue National Historic District. Staff recommendation is that the request from the Director of City Development for permission to apply for a certified local government historical preservation subgrant from the Wisconsin Historical Society to help fund the preparation of reconnaissance survey for the potential Carlisle Avenue National Historic District be approved, and that the Department of City Development staff be authorized to submit the necessary application forms to the Wisconsin Historical Society. Fiscal note, the subgrant requested will be in the amount of $10,000, which are the estimated project costs. There is no local match required for this grant.
Thank you. Is there anyone who is here to speak on this item?
Yes, we have. Go ahead.
What was the
Oh,
name?
you
I'm
can
sorry.
hear me?
Sure, go ahead, sir.
This is Matt Sadowski. You're able to hear me?
Now I can. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Because I'm on the phone. I can't get my mic on my laptop to work.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done a number of these in the past. This is a series of grants that we've received from the Wisconsin Historical Society over basically the past 20 years to do reconnaissance surveys and historic designations. What this is it's a reconnaissance survey. What it does, it takes a look at an area, tries to determine the historic resources within that area, and then comes up with recommendations on either historic districts or landmarks that could be designated. And what we're looking at right now is really trying to tie in with what's happening at the Horlick site, and then also take advantage of Carlisle Avenue, and then also the Horlick Field, the baseball field, the baseball complex there. And, what we would do is hire a consultant to look at those areas and identify historic resources, potential districts, landmark properties. Maybe look. What they also do is they do a scour for potential events that happened within the areas, or notable persons that may have resided in the area. So the area that we're looking at is from State Street on the south to Rapids Drive on the north, Memorial Drive on the east, and what's the western boundary? Let me see. The western boundary is
The Summit?
It was the one to the west.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Summit Avenue. That's it. Yeah, and we've received a number of these grants in the past over the years. Frankly, they like working with us because we get the project done, and we're asking for the ability to apply for a grant to cover the cost. As it's stated on the agenda, there's no match that's required, and it's a $10,000 grant that we're going to be requesting, or we'd like to request it.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that summary. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
Move to approve a grant with no match. What's
Okay.
yes.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Tate and seconded by Alder West. So that sounds good. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you.
All right, next item. I'm sorry, look, where are we here? Okay, item 790-20. Take it away, please.
We have a communication sponsored by Alder Young on behalf of the Director of City Development requesting permission to apply for a certified local government historical preservation grant for the Wisconsin Historical Society to help fund the preparation of rehabilitation design guidelines for residential properties in Racine. Staff recommendation to the Finance and Personnel Committee that the request from the Director of City Development requesting permission to apply for a certified local government historical preservation grant from the Wisconsin Historical Society to help fund the preparation of rehabilitation design guidelines for residential properties in Racine be approved. Further, that the Department of City Development staff be authorized to execute the necessary application forms to apply for this grant. Fiscal note, the sub-grant requested will be in the amount of $15,000, which is the estimated project cost. There is no local match required for this grant.
Okay, thanks. So, is there anyone here who would like this item?
Yeah, Matt Sadowski.
Okay, that's what I figured. Please proceed, sir.
Yeah, and thank you. And this also a grant that we're applying for from the Wisconsin Historical Society. We have a design guidelines and maintenance guidelines for older homes and structures that was printed in 1973. And so what this would do would be to update that document. A lot of the techniques have changed. Materials have changed. There's newer materials on the market. Plus, that book covered homes basically from 1850 up until the 1930s or so. Since that book was published, more homes have become historic just by the Secretary of Interior standards of being 50 years or older. And so the book has to reflect the construction methods of those methods and designs and styles of this newer period. And so that's the other reason for updating the book as well. And so it would be made available definitely to all of our landmark properties within historic districts, but then also as a reference guide for when we get somebody that comes in and has an older home or building that may not be in a historic district, may not be a landmark, but still has some very distinguishing factors that we want to present them with more historically accurate alternatives and to either repair their porch or fix their eaves or replace gutters or steps or skirts around their porches, railings, all those types of things, roof materials, windows, siding, all just methods to maybe like repair wooden siding rather than cover it up with vinyl. And we have some guidance in our current plan on issues like that. So that would be the intent, is to update that book, or probably not update it, just come up with an entirely new book. We'd base it on the consultant's recommendations as they get a look at what we have. But it would be, the request here is to apply for the grant. We anticipate or estimate the grant or the cost of the work would be about $15,000. And yeah, we would hire a consultant to accomplish that.
Are there any questions for Mr. Sadowski or comments by committee members? Okay, see, it looks like a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alder Young, properly second. Alder Tate the second. Any further discussion on this item? Swiping through. Okay, seeing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Let's see. Was that the last item? Well, it appears that was the last item. So at this time, I think the meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.